Good afternoon. This is Yemi from purposefulme.co.uk. I've wanted to do a series of videos around a couple of books that I've written, and it's because I want to share the book with the world. The first book I wrote in 2015, that I published in 2015, was titled Flying High in a Polka Dot Dress. And it's a collection of stories, mostly about my father, but it's something that celebrates how I grew up and the lessons that I learned in the process. So this series of videos from Flying High in a Polka Dot Dress, I hope it inspires you. I hope it's something that you can share with your children, your nephews, your nieces, because every story in this book is a story of overcoming, is a story of encouragement, is a story that inspires, is a story that challenges and encourages us to be the best and to go for everything that we're designed to do and be. So the first story I want to read to you from this book, it's titled, for me, I've titled it The Audacity to Ask. Having the audacity to ask. Something Dale Carnegie said is that most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. I'll repeat that again. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. And that in itself is very challenging. If we're going to accomplish anything in life, we have to keep on trying. We have to be willing not to take no for an answer. And no matter how long it takes, we have to go after the things that we want to accomplish. So I'll read this story in the next few moments. I learn about having the audacity to ask. Daddy asks to be considered for an all-girls school, proving that if you want something badly enough, you will find a way to make it happen. When I thought of writing this book, I was spurred on because each time I told a story about my father, I saw friends, family, and colleagues get inspired. Sometimes they couldn't seem to get enough, and they found the stories unbelievably motivating. I love this story about how he and his best friend, during one of their capers, decided to apply for places in an all-girls college because it was the only free school for miles. Given the fact that my dad had no one to pay his school fees, you can understand the desperation that led to the audacious and extremely unusual request, which the head teacher of an all-girls school received from two young men who at this stage, I must add, were old enough to cause the girls and the school a lot of grief. And you know what I mean by that. In their pursuit of college education, they realized they could not afford the tuition fees, uniforms, books, accommodation fees, and everything else, even after years of saving up everything they had earned. So one night, as they sat and tried to figure a way out, they thought of writing to all of the schools within their local area, requesting special grants to enable them to study. They came up with all manners of skills they could barter for a place in one of the schools. Options ranged from working for their places within the school canteen or any other areas to being allowed to go home on the weekend to work and earn some money in time for Monday morning. The boldest request, however, was made to a school that had a no boys policy, and that's because it was an all-girls school. Knowing this did not deter my father and his friend from writing to the head teacher. I'm sure they offered to sit at the back of the class or do whatever it took to stay separate from the girls. But the head teacher, understandably but unfortunately, could not take them up on any of their offers. My dad's relentless pursuit of an education would then lead him to take a job as a cook at a missionary school, just because it gave him the opportunity to stand in the corridor and learn through the classroom windows. He often told us how he would write down notes from lessons on the blackboard before he cleaned the classrooms. He was glad when a teacher could not be bothered to wipe down the board, as he got a chance to learn and take down some notes. If the blackboard was cleaned before he got into the classroom, he often wondered what he had missed. This job also gave him access to the school library, which meant that he could study for free at nights when everyone was in bed. This was how he not only saved up, but also learned for free. Eventually, he got to a level where he could sit the relevant exams, which he passed, and this enabled him to move on to higher education. My father ultimately did his Bachelor of Arts degree in History and Geography after my brother and I were born. It took that long for him to finally achieve his dream of a university education, but he did. I was about 5 years old when he was doing his degree, and my mother worked to support him and the family. Many years later, I put this bold approach to life into practice when I applied for a job that was at least 3 grades above my current level at the time. I knew I could do the job. I knew I was qualified for it. But more importantly, I desperately wanted the promotion. And I wanted the opportunity to prove myself at something challenging. At that point, I reminded myself that if Daddy could apply to an all-girls school, then I could go for this leap. What's the worst thing that could happen? The recruiting manager reminded me that this job was far higher than my current one, but was happy for me to put in an application, which I did. My mentor at work and my colleagues also warned me that I was not meant to go for promotions within the first 2 years of being in a role. Despite all of this, I went for it, passed the interview, and got the job. Initially, it was on a seconded basis, like a temporary basis, but the promotion was made permanent 4 months later, almost doubling my annual income. It would have taken me on average 4 promotions, one every couple of years, to achieve this pay rise if I had not been bold enough to go after something that I really wanted. My bold and audacious move accelerated my career by 8 years. Thanks to my father's fearless attitude to life, I dare to dream, and more importantly, I dare to pursue those dreams relentlessly. I hope that story has inspired you to be audacious and to go after your dreams as well. Thank you for going on this journey. If you want to more of that story, you can go on to Amazon and you can get an e-version of the book. You can also get a print version of the book. It's not that expensive, and it's called Flying High in a Polka Dot Dress by Olayemi Adelekon. So check it out, and check out other videos from my website, which is www.purposefulme.co.uk. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.